sure how to define the type of music that Whiskey Jack plays. It's sort of bluegrass country, but anyway, I'm sure you're going to enjoy them.
Down the road, down the road, got a little pretty girl down the road. Well, down the road about a mile or two, it's a girl down in curly blue. That's so high, her hair is brown, prettiest thing boys in this town. Down the road, got a little pretty girl down the road. Her name's Tammy. Down the road, got a little pretty girl down the road. Well, I say down the road, got a little pretty girl down the road.
So let's start out. You two are the founders of Whiskey Jack.
That's right.
And that's got to be about 30, 40 years ago.
Well, let's not get carried
We
away.
were really young at the time.
Yeah.
No, I'm teasing.
No, it's unusual that we're quite pleased that we can say we've been singing and playing music together for 32 years.
32
Yes.
years. Isn't
Yes.
that unbelievable?
Yeah.
So when you started, who was in the original band?
Well, there was Bob and I.
Besides the two of you?
Yeah, there was Bob and I, and the Canadian champion bass player at the time, which is Greg Street, and John Hoffman, who was also one of the founding members. He played mandolin and fiddle.
All these years, you put your heart and soul into this band, and I know that you were on the Tommy Hunter show
Yes.
years ago. Duncan,
Yes.
now Bob, were you as well?
Yes, absolutely.
So both
Whole
of you?
time. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
His
okay.
hair was a little bit longer. They used to tuck his hair up into his hat.
Really?
Because Tommy didn't like the hippies all that much.
But
As
they
far
were
as I know,
they
he
were
still
really good
does
about it. They were really good about it.
Yeah.
They never said a word to me about it. They just before we were going to walk on stage, they just walked up and said, "Here's your hat."
Oh, really?
That's all it was said.
Yeah.
I get it.
Well,
So up it went.
Yeah.
well, you know what? I remember being a child and watching the Tommy Hunter show, and my parents loved it. And my dad, Barry Rydell, you know, was really
Yeah.
into Tommy Hunter, and I remember thinking, oh, I don't know how I can sit through these. They're painful. Then, as I grew older, I grew to love. I would still like to meet Tommy Hunter.
Tommy Hunter, who's white cake,
Yeah.
to Stompin' Tom, who's not white cake. Kind of, what's
Black sheep.
Black sheep. So we covered both bases, because you know, Tommy Hunter sings for a bit of gospel. You know, sort of rather clean cut, like you said. You know,
Yes.
it's kind of hard for a young person to buy that straightness so much, but the older folks liked it. But Tom, not at all. Tom's the opposite. Tom loves to push the envelope. He's a bit of a rebel. I understand. You know, he comes to the Sioux fairly often. We haven't toured with him for quite a few years now. It's an experience being on the road with Tom, by the way. It's not faint of heart.
Learned to being on the road with him.
I learned what an incredible, and I was unaware of this when I was younger, what an incredible Canadian music icon that guy is. Because I'm on stage with him, and he's performing, and you look down in the front row, and there's, on this side, there's a bunch of women that look like their grandmothers. And they're standing there watching them and crying, because they were there when they were young. And
What an
there's
experience.
people with their babies standing there in the front row. And over here, there's about 10 college students with Stompin' Tom for Prime Minister t-shirts
Yeah.
Oh.
and just the mosh pit, you know. They're-
Anything else about your band? Throughout the 32 years, you must have seen a lot.
It's funny, you know, we were just
toured across Canada,
Yeah.
countless times,
We-
all the way down to New Orleans to play the World's Fair.
Okay, what was that like, New Orleans?
It was incredible.
I
It was
can't even
amazing.
imagine.
I decided when we went down that what I was going to do was I was going to sample all the different foods that Hank Williams mentions in the song Jambalaya.
Okay.
Jambalaya.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
crawfish pie.
Crawfish pie, filet gumbo.
Filet gumbo.
Oh, anyway, I did
Okay.
it. It was great.
And?
It was wonderful.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was
I've
wonderful.
never experienced one.